40 years ago, I had a Commodore 64 in college, and I had the original Microsoft Flight Simulator. We started at Meigs Field, and we thought the graphics were absolutely incredible. Well, let's check out what it looks like 40 years later. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and I'm in Houston at Ellington Field at the Air Museum, where they are holding Flight Sim Expo. And it's amazing how things have changed and what can be done. So let's go around and see what's happening in the world of flight simulators. You can see Flight Sim has changed significantly since the mid-'80s. I'm here at the, I guess you call it the FlightChops booth, where I've caught up with Steve from FlightChops to talk about his setup. It's amazing. Check it out.
So this is the Flight Sim Expo, and what's cool here is that I'm seeing the gap get narrower and narrower between real aviation and sim, and also much more affordable. So what I have here is we're emulating the same equipment that we have in the airplane. So we've got a GTN 750 as our primary navigator, GFC 500 autopilot controller, G3X touch displays. All of that is being emulated by equipment that is now available from different manufacturers and different software, drivers and the emulators that can get plugged into Microsoft Flight Sim as the main engine, which is what we're running. So I got a sort of display here that basically illustrates that real-world aviation can be emulated in a home sim affordably, and then you can work on things like your procedures or your workflow, your muscle memory of just buttonology of the physical units, which I think is very key, especially for instrument flying. You're not going to learn how to land a tail dragger in a sim. People sometimes like, you can't, that can't be done right. You can't make wake turbulence. It's like, right. There are things sims cannot do. That's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is saving money. I'm not burning av gas when I go and practice some instrument procedures. I can fly down to minimums and do approaches, and then when I get into the real airplane, that stuff is there in my mind, and it's like I've worked through it. So it's a huge advantage to be able to practice that kind of stuff with a home sim. So this airplane is right in there running in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020.
So there's a company that's making the whole setup and can custom make your own airplane. So I could ask them to make something for Lola. You could make it for your airplane and then practice your own airplane, your instrument approaches. You can practice your techniques, your maneuvers. It's pretty crazy what's out there now. I got the chance to talk with Stay Level.
Stay Level Avionics, we're based in Chicago. I'm actually a CFI up in Chicago, and we build a lot of home custom flight simulator avionics panels. So a lot of our customers will have a lot of different GPSs and navigators and screens and yokes and throttles. And what we do is we actually integrate all of those things together really nicely to what I call a wife-approved, really good look that you can set up in your office and be really proud of. So this one here, our whole goal with the FlightChops simulator was really to go from the aircraft to the home flight simulation environment. And that's really where kind of our bread and butter is, and we really enjoy is being able to go between both. So if you're learning that new buttonology, menuology of that Garmin GTN 750, this is a great opportunity to be able to do it comfortable in the freedom of your own home. Additionally, we've got our ForeFlight integration as well with the simulator, so you can now actually learn ForeFlight right on the ground, right in the home, that profile view. You can fly the flight you may want to fly the following day in your home simulator using ForeFlight for your approach briefing and things like that with JEP charts or even FAA charts. So it's really integrating and blending this whole real world aviation to flight simulation, and we're now finally at a point, I kind of call it the golden era of flight simulators. I mean, this has been, I'll call it about 10 years in the making, and now Microsoft's here for the first time. It's been a really, really exciting time to see all this hardware and technology all come together in a really trainable, usable configuration for pilots and those that are training to become pilots.
Oh no, the gear was up. He forgot the gear.
Another gear up landing. What's really cool about the Flight Sim Expo is that it's being held at an air museum. Well, okay, there we go. My favorite, the F4U Corsair. One burning question I had was, can these flight simulators be used for loggable time via the FAA?
All right, so to get it FAA approved, basically, we have multiple levels of FAA approval. One is BATD, the other is AATD. So it's basic aviation training device or an advanced aviation training device. Once the whole simulator's together with our cockpit, with all the components, it's up and running with the software, then from that perspective, you work with your FAA FSDO, and you're going to walk them through all of the functionality of the actual simulator itself. You're going to then get a letter of approval. You're going to get an LOA that basically says you can use this simulator to log certain amounts of hours. So if you want to do like your 66 hits, your IPC, 6 and 6, whatever you want to call it, you can basically do that stuff with your instrument procedures on your home flight simulator. So it's a pretty good solution, and it works pretty well.
I don't need to log it. To me, if I can do 5 hours of home simming and make myself feel a lot safer and more proficient when I fly a real hour, that's what it's for. Having said that, you're going to see a lot of simulation equipment here that is affordable, that is FAA certified. It's pretty amazing that these sims that used to be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, you can now set something up for like $5,000 to $10,000 at home that you can log. That's stuff that I don't know a lot about because I'm not interested in that side of it so much. I want to talk about a setup that is less than $10,000 that you can set up at home with a powerful computer, beautiful graphics if you want that, but I'm interested in the hardware that really matches what your avionics are. Get yourself comfortable and proficient.
This is going to be my takeaway, something Steve said. You know, I've only thought of flight sims as far as building time, saving some money in my flight training. But really, you know, as a plane owner, having a simulator that has my actual instrumentation and my avionics could be huge. I feel like with the Garmin and with the Aspen that I have in Lola, the 210, that I probably use 10, 15, maybe 20% of the capabilities because I just haven't really dived into it. A flight sim would give me that, and it would make me a safer and better pilot. So, you know what? I hadn't really thought about that. So, Steve from FlightChops, good point. All right, guys, that wraps it up from the Flight Sim Expo here at the Lone Star Museum, Ellington, what used to be Air Force Base outside of Houston. So you guys remember, superior judgment trumps superior skills, and we'll see you guys next time on Taking Off.